Let us hear the Holy Gospel. Peace be to all.
And to thy spirit.
The reading of the Holy Gospel according to Saint Matthew.
Glory to thee, O Lord. Glory to thee.
Let us attend. The Lord said to his disciples, "You are the light of the world. The city set on a hill cannot be hid. Nor do men light a lamp and put it under a bushel, but on a stand, and it gives light to all in the house. Let your light so shine before men, that they may see your good works and give glory to your Father who is in heaven. Think not that I have come to abolish the law and the prophets. I have not come to abolish them, but to fulfill them. For truly I say to you, till heaven and earth pass away, not one iota, not a dot will pass from the law until all is accomplished. Whoever then relaxes one of the least of these commandments and teaches men so shall be called least in the kingdom of heaven. But he who does them and teaches them shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven.
Glory to thee, O Lord. Glory to thee.
Good morning. We've had a full week with young people every day here at the church for our Vacation Bible School. And now the second and third week of camp, so many of them have made their way to Camp St. Nicholas. Not this week, but next week, many of us will be attending the Archdiocese Convention, when His Beatitude Patriarch John X will be presiding together with Metropolitan Saba at the JW Marriott. Hopefully the air conditioning will be working there in Phoenix, Arizona. For those of you who are joining us by live streaming, forgive our glitches with our connection today. I guess the heat may have had an impact on some of the wiring. I don't know. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, one God, Christ is in our midst.
He is never shall be.
Today, we are remembering the Holy Fathers of the Fourth Ecumenical Council as the examples of our faith, inspiration, sound teaching, holiness of life, and as courageous witnesses, in some cases even sacrificing their lives as martyrs of the faith. This was the church gathering in the city of Chalcedon, which resulted in the first schism with a group known as non-Chalcedonians who were not in agreement with the Holy Fathers, who came to a consensus under the Holy Spirit. This is not a democratic process, folks. It's not a matter of who votes for this, who's in favor of this. It has to do with reflecting upon the teaching of Christ, deepening our reflection upon the apostles' proclamation of the faith, reviewing the canonical creed of the Church, and therefore concluding, and it pertained to the two natures of Christ. The monophysitic believers were insistent that God could not have taken on human flesh and become a human being. There's just no way this was possible. And of course we can't explain it. But we proclaim the faith as what was declared by the Holy Fathers, 630 of them, if you can imagine. How many are in Congress? 300 and something? 630 came to a consensus. Of course, there were those few, Dioscoros, Severus, that stepped over the line. And the Church said, sorry, here's the consensus. This is the faith. And we might think this is just semantics, but it has a lot to our belief in the divine Son of God who took on human flesh as a human being. This is a very Antiochian characteristic of our theology that's proclaimed by the Cappadocian fathers like Basil the Great, Gregory the theologian, and John Chrysostom, who are Antiochians and had to, by some means, provide the articulation of our faith concerning the mysteries that enabled us to say, we can say this, but we will not say this. No. He took on human flesh. If that was not so, we are not saved or cannot be saved. God did not, as I told the children this week, God did not make a mistake. He didn't create the world and say, oh my God, I made a mistake, and throw everything away and start over again. It didn't happen that way. He entered suffering. He participated fully, except in sin, as we do, in order that he might be the new Adam to succeed where Adam failed. That's the teaching of the Church. So the countless fathers and church mothers lived what they taught and taught what they lived. Heard in today's gospel is the concluding verse. Whoever does the commandments of God and teaches them. Notice, does precedes the words teach. If you don't do the belief of our faith, then you have no right to teach it. And this is precisely the point of Christian ethics. You and I know what people believe in what they do, not what they say. And last week we spoke about what it means to be a mature Christian. Christian maturity includes the practice of personal discipline, a discipline that causes us to do things consistently, to strategize when it's difficult, to plan, to follow through in doing good. What are they? Number one, I have about 7 quickly to mention. Being vigilant in prayer and fasting. 2, have a plan for your day, not waiting or procrastinating as a result of your mood. Oh, it's hot today. I don't think I'm going to X, Y, Z. Drink more water. Now, use good sense. If you work outside digging ditches and get heat stroke, that's not wise. Don't procrastinate. Be on time. It's an evidence of respect. The Holy Spirit is not going to take control of your life. You and I must act upon what we know and believe. Number 3, don't be caught up or focus upon all the bad news in the world. Last week we talked about the importance of primary sources, not secondary sources or third source opinions. Know the truth. We live in a world of restless dissatisfaction, largely because we do not live knowing what we really want. Number 4, learn from your mistakes so you don't repeat them. Take an interest in what history has taught us, and you might be surprised as what you will find out. 5, use your reason to aim for what is possible for good, rather than to find excuses for failure. Let me repeat that. Use your reason to aim for what is possible for good, instead of finding excuses for failure. If you don't know what is good, spend more time finding out by beginning with the Scriptures, the laws of God, which will not change, even though He has great mercy upon us sinners. 6, live the Christian life. Use words when necessary. That's one of the church fathers' quotes. I forgot who. And finally, 7, be thankful. It always helps to praise and glorify God. For we hear St. Paul says, in every circumstance give thanks, for this is the will of God concerning you. And of course, for anyone recovering from any addiction, the great serenity prayer, Lord, grant me the serenity, meaning the peace, to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know one from the other. In simple terms, help me to spend my time in what matters. Notice, in today's gospel, there is a great sobriety in Jesus' words when he said, I have not come to abolish the law and the prophets. I have not come to abolish them, but to fulfill them. For truly, I say to you, until heaven and earth pass away, not one iota, not a dot will pass from the law until all is accomplished. And so, whoever relaxes one of the least of these commandments and teaches others to do so will be called least in the kingdom of heaven. With these words, Christ is stating a fact. It is what we affirm and believe. True freedom is found in living our life in step with God's Spirit in obedience to His laws that will not change. Each of us will eventually face up to the unchanging truth that none of us can fight God's providence. You and I will not and will never be on the throne. We were created to be in fellowship with God and with each other, and in this life, you and I are called to be believing partners in good works that aims to heal, reconcile, and to forgive. This is our calling as the light of the world. It is our mission, it is our hope, and the hope for the world in glorifying the God who we love and serve and whose kingdom is without end. Therefore, doing what is good is simply loving God and keeping his commandments. It is the whole premise and the basis of the Sermon on the Mount. You know that passage in Matthew where it says, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those that mourn, for they shall be blessed are the meek." Blessed, blessed. Now listen closely. It's not love for love's sake. It's not even love for your or my sake. It is God's love for us, our love of God, and our love of our neighbor. It is living what it means to be blessed by being united to God and his laws. Christ is in our midst. Help us, save us, have mercy on us, and keep us, O God, by thy grace, wisdom that guarded always